Thanks everyone for hanging in for the late sessions. We appreciate you. We're gonna, dive into the. What are we talking about today? Brands and culture. I'm kidding. I know what we're talking about today. With Anna from Ubisoft and Matt from Turo. And, seemingly quite different brands, but frankly with remarkable and creative approaches that really underscore all the trends that we are seeing in, brand marketing, be it authenticity, immersive experiences that resonate in culture, how to win at the attention and social game, certainly, and of course, data and the ongoing, ever-famous topic of AI. So let's just dive right in and have a good time with this awesome content today. So let's get into the industry insights and trends. We're going to start with cultural marketing. So Matt, kick us off.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So it's 4 o'clock. We're going to make this fun. We're going to try to wake you up. So first of all, I just want to address the camera. Right now, Hertz is also having a brand innovator session in Florida. So if you're watching this on YouTube after, we're coming for you. Okay, let's talk about this. So within the name, cultural marketing is culture, and Kamal just did a great job of talking about Visalign's approach. For Turo, especially coming out of the pandemic, but in general, a big part of our value proposition is being able to pick the exact car that you want, and obviously the car playing a central role in having an amazing experience, to elevate an experience. And so, what we want to do to be able to take over an industry, a category that has been around for 100 years with established players that all have equally awful experiences, is we need to infiltrate culture, right? We need to tie car culture authentically to popular culture. And so what we've been doing is, the first step is obviously getting to know our audience, getting to know our values and ourselves, and then we figure out what is it that they like, where are they spending their time, what are they consuming, and how can we add value to that? Not just pay and insert ourselves and be like, thanks, but how can we actually make whatever it is they love even more lovable? And so a few examples of how we've infiltrated music and entertainment and food and even Canadian culture, which I'll talk about in a second. As a native Canadian, I'm very proud of that one. We partnered with Wednesday at the end of 2022 when Wednesday was absolutely everywhere. And what we did is we partnered with West Coast Customs and Netflix, and we created literally Wednesday's hearse. And Wednesday became our newest host on Turo, and our copywriters wrote up Wednesday's profile, being like, oh, I remember when I was in the back seat with Pugsley and I would burn him, and it would just really be just like a wonderful, summer memory. And so you could actually book her hearse on a Wednesday in LA for $13 and drive that around the city, and so have a really, really unique experience. And we brought that to life with celebrities and creators, et cetera, to get the word out there. On the food side with Michelin, we actually partnered with Michelin Guide. We did this in the US, we did this in Canada as well. And basically, you got an amazing car, you got a meet and greet with the chef, and of course, you got an amazing Michelin Guide meal. And so again, you're tying the entire experience together. It's not just about the meal, now it's about having something that's extremely memorable and making sure that we're inserting ourselves into your lives. The Jonas Brothers became our newest hosts. Literally, you could book their cars on their tours, like their names are on the titles, their junk is still in the car probably, and you got to meet, one of the brothers, whichever's car that you booked, and that's super unique because you don't normally get to be able to meet the talent of the show that you're going to. And then SK8, I love because this was an insight from our neighbors to the north, where the most backyard rinks per capita in the world are in Canada, and it's every young Canadian like myself's dream growing up to actually be able to play hockey on a rink that is as smooth as what you would see when you go to an NHL game, and they're all gross. And so we actually enabled you to book a Zamboni that would come to your house for 4 hours and smooth out your ice. And we got Marie-Philippe Poulin, who's the Canadian national women's hockey captain, to kind of be our spokesperson with a bunch of other creators, and brought it to life. So the point is our whole campaign last year was all about opening doors to extraordinary experiences. And the way that we want to bring that to life is tying into these different cultural moments that may or may not be expected, and do it in a way that gets people into cars and ties their overarching experience, whether that's a concert, whether that's watching a show, eating a meal, to be able to augment that with something that's extremely special, and the car that you can specifically choose, which is in direct contrast to, obviously, our competitors.
100%. I'm a fan
Yeah.
of the brand. I've used it. The last time I used it, I flew into Napa, and our Audi was waiting for us, and we got to pick it, and it's like a wildly revolutionary concept of how you approach this. I got into a really nasty fight with somebody at Hertz the other day because they just totally, ruined what should have been a very easy, lovely experience. So
Yeah.
kudos to you guys. And I mean, I ice skated it as a kid, so like I don't think there's any kid who does not grow up to like hope to drive a Zamboni someday. Which so I think that's super rad.
No doubt.
So Anna, onto you. I know it's a little bit different, and you kind of look at it a bit through a different lens. So for you, cultural marketing is really more immersive experiences, with obviously gameplay being, so critical and truly and deeply in the hands of your consumers. So tell us how you differentiate and take us through your approach.
Thank you, Rachel. So I'm Anna, and I'm currently in charge of the global media campaign for Skull and Bones, the game that is actually launching tomorrow, coincidentally, so super excited about that. And I think Ubisoft is really renowned for the open world immersive games that we're able to create. And Skull and Bones is actually one of them. It's an open world multiplayer game. It's a pirate fantasy in which you can feel like a pirate. You can build your own ship. You can hire a crew. You can go and sail the beautiful but dangerous waters of the Indian Ocean, and all while having a lot of fun playing this game. I think for all of us working in marketing, we are facing very similar challenges right now because, in my point of view, marketing is getting hotter with every year. And the playbooks that worked maybe 4 years ago are no longer relevant, and they're, in a way, history in today's world. And let me give you an example here. I think for a lot of us in our marketing playbooks just from a few years ago, we had a rule in which was saying, if you want to attract attention of someone online, you need to make your asset really captivating within the first 3 seconds, because otherwise you would just lose them if they're not hooked right away. Based on the most recent research that I have seen, this time has actually decreased from 3 seconds to 1.4 seconds. That's how quickly people right now make a decision whether they're interested in something or not. And obviously, it's a challenge that all of us are facing when we work on any marketing campaign for any brand or product or service, right? So when we started working on the campaign for Skull and Bones, we were in the similar situation where we had to create a very compelling marketing campaign that would be able to capture the attention of a lot of people right away. And what we decided to do in this case, we decided to kind of step away a little bit from the regular gameplay assets and try to do something more immersive and more, shareable, so to speak, on social media so that it could help us a little bit with the virality aspect of it. And we worked very closely with our agency based in Paris, and we decided that what would be more fun to bring this game to life than showing giant pirate ships sailing next to very iconic world landmarks suddenly out of nowhere. And then you're kind of like captivated, like, wait, is it real? Did it really happen? Like, what is this asset? So we chose 6 iconic locations around the world with obviously Tower Bridge, the Statue of Liberty, Niagara Falls, the Eiffel Tower being one of them. And that's how we decided to bring this game to life, just to stay immersive and really authentic. And we can play some of the assets for you guys.
Skull and Bones, available February 16th. Play for free during the open beta. Skull and Bones, available February 16th. Play for free during the open beta.
I'm sorry for the end cards.
I never want to see that. Yeah.
But like these assets are nowhere polished. Like you could see that in some of them, the camera is like shaking a little bit. You can see like you can hear some street sounds, like someone saying "wow." So it really looks like someone pulled out their camera, like saw something happening, recorded it, and shared it on social media. So that's kind of what we were going for.
It's fantastic. I mean, I think the last time a brand, went at it from this perspective was, I think, when, Netflix brought back the last season of Stranger Things. So, I mean, bravo to you guys for going big. And, I'm sure you're all familiar with this trend of faux out of home. So Anna, during our call, apologized to me that she may be doing some faux out of home, but I think this is more of a stunt. So if any of you guys go mocking up Times Square, I'm coming for you. But if this is the kind of faux out of home you're talking about, we're all here for it. And unlike my personal use of Turo, I have no doubt I will be paying for that game for my 16-year-old son. So I'm deeply committed to both of your causes.
Appreciate it.
So let's move on to the next part. So we're going to talk about brand expressions. So, obviously we have all of these, glossy, amazing ideas that you guys are making happen in the real world. But how do you get outside sort of the traditional ROI driving formats, ad formats, to create that lasting engagement and success in brand authenticity that's so important for both of your customers who are, feel so deeply connected to the experiences that come with utilizing your brands?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, like, first and foremost, it comes with an understanding of our audience, and it comes with an understanding of where marketing is going. And the lion's share of our actual paying guests today are going to be millennials and Gen X, but the guests of tomorrow are going to be Gen Z. I think the eldest of which at this point are probably about 26, 27 years old. So they are not coming; they are here. And what we've realized is just this amazing opportunity to tap into creators. I mean, you've all heard of them, and unlike influencers, they are there every day. They have earned their audience over time. The engagement, the authenticity of what they put out is extremely high and resonant, and there's a trust value. And what we also know is that people are just sick and tired of brands. Like, they want to hear from people, and they don't want to see ads that look like ads. They want to see things that there is some thought there. This person is using it, is portraying it in a really interesting way. And so these are just 5 of probably 30 different examples from some of our creator work that we did last year. You can see a lot of different types of folks, from visual effects artists to what we call like transition experts. There's travel, there's kind of immersion within a city, there's get ready with me and matching my outfit. There's obviously Alexia who got into the Wednesday mobile for a day, and a ton more where that came from. And what it allows us to do is just penetrate subcultures. The nicheification of the TikTokification that was being talked about on the last panel is really important for people to understand, not only for Gen Z, but just for like all generations generally where we're going. And so to the extent that, we can yield not only a better ROI, but yield more like a deeper level of trust, and being in places where people are not only open to experiencing brands, but are actually entertained by us and educated by us, is I think such an important way for Turo to again, like, exist in people's lives in a non-threatening way, and over time help people understand that this is the way forward. It's a better overarching experience. People that you trust are talking about it. It's being portrayed in really, really creative ways. And oh, by the way, for us to take the category, like 100% wholeheartedly take the category, we're going to have to win Gen Z. And so we have to start in the places that they exist, doing things that are really, really, really exciting for them, shareable. And the amount of comments that we got on the variety of work that we did, and we're going to be doing more this coming summer, is, I love this, and why isn't more advertising like this, right? And I think at the end of the day, they see that it's a sponsored post. They see that it's a collaborative post. They don't care. They watch it all the way through. They tag their friends, and that is really wonderful for us, and it does translate to bookings. It does translate to growth. So, we're going to continue to lean into this, and I think that there is a place and a time for traditional media, and certainly, we've done big TV spots, we've done a lot of out of home, we do podcast advertising and things like that. But as we think about the two things we've talked about, cultural marketing and our creator work, it's a very, very big hallmark because the level of trust and the booking intent that it drives relative to traditional channels, because it's through people and not through just the brand telling you that you should trust us, we're a doctor, is so much more powerful, and quite frankly, it's the way to market today.
Fantastic. Anna.
Thank you. I totally agree with Matt. And in our approach to brand expressions, we're definitely going beyond traditional advertising. And also, I believe that the best marketing doesn't look like marketing. And that's how we should be connecting with our audiences. Same as Turo, we are also very selective in terms of what talent we work with. And we need to make sure that the talent aligns with the brand's value and the personality that we have. So for example, for the Skull and Bones game, obviously it's a pirate game, it's an adventure. So we wanted to work with the talent that brings that spirit to our campaign. So such as obviously the impressive Michelle Rodriguez that we worked with for promoting the game. And the way we started working with her was also very authentic. She actually was the narrator for the Gangsters of the Sea podcast that we did for Skull and Bones. And this podcast was not really a marketing material. It was more of like a companion to the narrative of the game for people like me who are interested in history and they want to learn more about the golden age of piracy, which is the end of the 17th century. And in this podcast, she's narrating stories about the real pirates that lived back in the day, and they rose to power, obviously through very violent means, but they were real people, and that's how we wanted to bridge that connection between being authentic to the game, recreating this historical aspect in Skull and Bones, and also telling more people about it, telling the community about how accurately we try to be with a lot of our games. And that was a part of a bigger podcast series called The Echoes of History that we do with Ubisoft for a very, very long time. And then after that, obviously, Michelle Rodriguez is also a gamer, and she participated in a gameplay session for us, which was another extension of our collaboration together. And then the second big personality that we worked with for this game was former NFL player Marshawn Lynch. And obviously, he is super well known. He has a bigger-than-life personality. And funny enough, he actually dressed up as a pirate about a year ago on his TV appearances and then on his social media. And he got the name of Captain Black Sparrow after he did that. So we obviously found a way to connect him to Skull and Bones and bring back that side of Marshawn Lynch. And we did a very fun activation during the Super Bowl week in Vegas because the open beta for Skull and Bones coincided with the Super Bowl weekend as well. And as you guys may know, Marshawn Lynch, he owns a Beast Mode store in Vegas. So we decided to, have fun with some of the people in Vegas. And those people who wanted to participate in his challenge had to pretend like they're pirates. And Marshawn Lynch and his crew were trying to choose the best pirate. And the prize for that person was to play a gameplay session with Marshawn Lynch and his crew. And after that, obviously, he posted what happened on his social media accounts, and that was a lot of fun to watch, I think, for everyone. So I think it's important to align with this, authentic voices, authentic talent for whatever you are doing. And then, to Matt's point, then the people who you're trying to talk to, they're more they can trust you better because they feel like you actually are trying to align with what they show.
That is some seriously flawless brand alignments. I mean, to be able to go that deep to find the sort of origin story of Michelle Rodriguez as it relates to, deep love of piracy and, obviously Marshawn Lynch and what better place than Vegas to, bring that to life just in the midst of.
Has anybody seen what Sydney Sweeney has been doing with Ford? Like that's some of the best, most authentic, work, and she's even been in a lot of movies and shows. She was just in White Lotus in season 2, and she even said like the most important work of her career has been the stuff she's been doing with Ford, because she just absolutely loves cars and specifically loves and refurbishes Ford. So like both of these are awesome that they're gamers. Can we also talk about the golden age of piracy? That sounds like something I need to learn more about. But this is great work.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really, congrats to both of you guys. So one last topic, and we can, go to questions from there. So last piece, of course, being, data, technology, ROI, whether you're using AI or just calling it technology or AI as a subset of technology. So beyond all these fun outward-facing, glossy marketing executions, just talk the room through the nuts and bolts of success on the back end. So any insights that you can share, what made your approaches ultimately successful for you?
You want to start?
Yeah. So I think for us, it's really, addressing the challenges of the modern world. And to me, it's a little bit crazy to think, but people 200 years ago, 100 years ago, had exactly the same amount of time that we have right now. But there is so much stuff competing for our attention these days with like social media, emails, text, all the messages we get, all the shows we want to watch, and everything is just pulling us apart. And that's why it's really, really hard to stand out these days in the modern economy. And I kind of addressed the first part of it with the first question where I talked about hooking attention, creating that wow effect, and capturing curiosity from people. But I think the second part of becoming successful in marketing is to really understand the player at the heart of your game, and that's why we conduct a lot of tech tests, closed betas. We always try to gather feedback from our players in order to understand what they really want and how can we adjust our games to make sure that players get the best experience out there. And if you truly put a player at the center of your marketing strategy, then you can understand them better, and eventually a player becomes someone who advocates for you. It's your advocate. And then eventually, if you have enough of those advocates, they become your own marketing team. So it's not just you anymore. It's the players out there online who are advocating for you and your games. And I've seen it happen on social media a lot of the times when people would like post some comment, they wouldn't understand how to download the open beta preload or something like that, or they would have some negative experience, and other players in the community would jump in and explain to them how to solve the issue, what to do next. So in a way, they are really playing the role of what the marketing team a lot of the times or the customer service team would be doing. And I think that's actually the secret to marketing, how to turn your community into an extension of your marketing team.
Yeah, and I mean, first of all, like one of the big annoying myths in marketing is that brand marketing is not measurable. Like, that's BS. Like, everything is measurable. And I think one of the key principles for our team is to take our cross-functional partners along for the journey as early as possible. So that predominantly is finance and product. And I think to the extent that you're helping them understand, like, what metrics are you trying to achieve with what it is you're trying to do, and also how can you connect the dots between kind of top of funnel to middle to bottom and even retention. And so whether that is a single market test, whether you are, again, having certain things that are responsible for driving awareness and consideration and brand equity and booking intent, and then other things that are solely focused on helping to educate and drive installs and drive bookings. I think that finance understands that, and I think if you can look at how it all comes together in terms of a fully loaded ROI, and acquisition costs, then I think they're going to give you more money to go do what you're doing because they understand that you have different things that are serving different purposes. What we try to do to give them more confidence is to demonstrate how we are thinking about the things, the inputs that go into the decisions that we make. So for example, how do we decide on our channel mix? we created a framework where we look at a confluence of three things, which is one, where have we seen efficiencies previously, so that we can take learnings and scale the things that are working, obviously. Two, not only where is our audience, but where are they open to brands, and where do they go to learn about brands? So for example, we know that we have a big part of our audience that loves to be gamers. They don't want us to advertise to them while they're gaming at all. Like that's not, or people that are streaming, they're paying to avoid our advertising, right? So like literally to avoid it. So that's a really important part of it, is understand where can we actually break through in a way that they want us to be there. And then third, where are our competitors, right? And of course, yeah, and where are our competitors investing, and where are they not? So that way we can be innovative and really have complete category share of voice. So that way we can become associated with those channels, and ultimately, that will help us win on the channel front. On the creative side, we go through rigorous testing, whether that is messaging, whether that is putting different kind of different concepts against kind of the overarching hero theme of that campaign through testing. So that way we can get a really good sense of like, is this going to work? What's going to work the best? What's resonating with people? And it doesn't have to be expensive. I worked at General Mills for 3 years, and the way that the companies like General Mills and P&G do it can be very expensive because they have the money to do that. We don't, but we use platforms that are inexpensive. We use, sample sizes that get us to a statistical significance that we feel is good enough, and then we put it out there because it's way better than nothing, and finance will feel better about us doing our homework, but it also allows us to still be bold, to still try really interesting things. And the last thing I'll say is that we always make sure that because we're holding hands with them, we're linking arms, they believe in our need to necessitate some portion of that budget towards experimentation. We're never going to know what could work and that could be scalable and that could be the next big thing for us if we're not actively being given permission to seek out those things. So, when we started doing podcast advertising a few years ago, it was like 8 podcasts, then it became 40, and then it became, success begets success begets success, and the efficiency gets stronger because of the economies of scale, and all of a sudden, like, you're known as somebody that's going to be advertising to you on podcasts. So it's really, really important to not look at measurement of marketing as like something you have to do. You should look at it as something you get to do, and it's an opportunity for all of us to show them what we can do and get them to want to invest more. I think Airbnb has done a great job as a proxy for Turo in terms of getting the board to say, yeah, let's invest more in brand and drive more organic bookings through our platform. And we're going through that exercise too, because we know that if we invest more in brand, we will take the category. And it's just a matter of proving to them that it's an efficient and effective thing to do.
I love it. You guys, you've got some really incredible marketers up here who are, making really successful moves in the zeitgeist, befriending their finance teams, going about it in a really smart and strategic way, taking risks, swinging big, doing amazing things. So I think we have a few minutes for questions, if anybody has any.
This is more of a specific question for Matt.
Yeah.
You talked about tapping into subcultures, and with a platform with such a kind of broad appeal, I guess, how do you identify what subcultures you want to tap into that's going to give you the most kind of gain for your business?
Yeah, it's putting the right processes in place and doing your homework. It's a combination of those two things. So the homework piece really just comes with, and this is a very overused term, but like developing like an insane in-depth empathy for your audience. And so we did that. We continue to do that. Basically, every quarter we go through quantitative and qualitative, just like rigorous like questionnaires, but also not focus groups in the traditional sense, but AI-driven kind of focus group tools to really, really understand like what is relevant to them at that moment in time, and how are their hobbies, their behaviors, their pain points, their dreams, their nightmares like evolving as culture evolves, right? As the world around us evolves, because that does change. And so the more we can see and identify patterns in those things that don't change, as was talked about earlier, but also understand some of the nuances of why things are changing, then we know what we can look out for. And then from a process standpoint, we do a few things. We have social listening, of course. We have an amazing, PR agency that's helping us stay on the cutting edge. But we also have channels internally. We created one that's called What's Fresh, and everybody across the company has an opportunity to bubble up things that are really interesting, that are resonating in culture. And then that leads a small kind of task force within our organization to say, what might that mean for us? And we have filters in place as well, like frameworks, decision trees, whatever you want to call them, that's like, okay, will our audience love this? Is it a good reflection of our values? Check, check. Okay, then do we have a role to play in terms of like authentically adding value to this, like Wednesday or like some of the things that I showed earlier? And also, like, if we do it, can we be bold? Can this be scroll stopping? Can this be share worthy? And can we do it fast? And would our competitors ever do this? And so we need to have things in place to enable us to be nimble, but we also have to ground it in what we already know to be true about our audience, because some of that is going to be just the art of the knowing, of the putting ourselves in their shoes, and the science of being able to identify those things and move quickly as a team.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.